Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is chapter 27 of Serendipity. This one's titled Back Home. Just a friendly note before we start the chapter. This one in the original book has a scene, an adult scene, so I have cut that out and I have faded my voice out as it starts and faded back in to continue on the chapter after it's finished. And then we continue on with the rest of the chapter, keeping it very PG and happy for everybody. The slowest damn day in the history of days. That's how the rest of the day went for you. Every time you saw Deku, you had to look away. The heat was gathering between your legs and it was going to bring you undone if you weren't careful. Ready to go, Yin? His bright, freckled face asked as he popped his head through the door of your office at closing time. Am I ready to go? I have been ready to go since this morning. Yes, I'm ready to go, you replied cheerfully, grabbing your bag and walking over to him. He took your hand and smiled at you as he squeezed it slightly. Let's head home. Home to the bedroom? You thought. Your mind was already going there. There was light chit-chat as the two of you walked home together, hand in hand, talking about random things, but there was definitely some underlying tension between you two. Deku reached for the door as you both approached the house, and he unlocked it before stepping aside to let you in. You had every intention of heading to your room first to get changed before anything heated up between you and Deku, but it seemed like he had different ideas. As you passed him, he reached out a hand and grabbed yours while closing the front door. Yin, he said softly, in a tone that you'd never heard him use before. You turned your head to look at him. He had his head lowered and his breathing was already becoming a little heavy. I've been keeping myself together all day. Barely, he said again in a lowered tone. You smirked. Well, hello there, cinnamon roll. You're finally coming out of your shell? You decided not to say anything to see what he would do. So you waited, eyes watching him as he remained with his head down. Slowly he raised it to look at you, and your mouth ran dry as your heart skipped a beat as his hungry green eyes met yours. That beautiful, soft, innocent look in his brilliant emerald eyes was replaced with raw lust. He was letting his guard down massively this time, and you couldn't help but feel that for a second there he had the power to dominate you. Your soft boyfriend was finding his feet, and he had snagged a one-way ticket to a destination both of you wanted. Finally finding your voice, you tried to play it sexy, but your tone came out more vulnerable than anything else. So, what did you have in mind? You asked, your eyes shining with need. Had you been inside Deku's body, you would have felt his... Yin, Deku panted, pulling back to look at you. That was amazing, you giggled. It was. Thank you for being my first, Izu, you said, wrapping your arms around his sweaty torso and hugging him. After cleaning up, you both cuddled back in bed for a bit of sleep, completely worn out. As you were drifting off, you heard a noise at the end of the bed. A very traumatized cat slunk out from under the bed and took off out the bedroom door before you or Deku could say anything. Deku looked at you, and you looked at him as you propped yourself up slightly. I didn't even know he was there, Deku wailed. You laughed sympathetically for what Cat had just endured. Serves him right, the perv, you said with a chuckle, kissing Deku before settling back down again next to him. The next day, Deku bounded into your office. Yin, would you like to come to my mum's house for dinner tonight? She's just invited us. Oh, I'd love to, you squealed. You both had been planning to go to her place for dinner one night, but with all the issues with Malty and busy work life, it just hadn't happened yet. It's settled then, Deku said with a bright smile. I'll tell her we're coming over after work. Sounds good, Izu, you replied, and he nodded as he left. You were looking forward to meeting his mum. She sounded like a real sweetheart. After work, you both headed to her place, with Deku telling you all the things she used to do for him when he was growing up. You couldn't wait to meet her. Mum, I'm home, Deku called out as you both entered the house. Izu, you heard her call out as she came running from the kitchen. She came around the corner and you couldn't help but smile. She was a chubby lady with the kindest, most beautiful face you'd ever seen, and immediately knew where Deku had gotten his infectious smile and innocent demeanour from. Oh, hello, I'm Inko Midoriya, the lady said to you as she approached you both. Deku let go of your hand and wrapped his mum in a big hug, lifting her off her feet. She laughed happily and hugged him back. I'm so happy to see you again. He placed her down gently and turned to you to make introductions. Mum, this is my girlfriend, Yin Lin. I love her so much, he said with an adoring smile at you as he reached for your hand to squeeze it. And Yin, this is my beautiful mum. I owe everything to her, he said, smiling respectfully at his mum. You melted at his words, and Mrs. Midoriya teared up. She hugged him again, trying not to cry. Izuku, my baby, you're so sweet. She then turned to you with a smile. How did you and Izuku meet? She asked, wiping a tear from her eye. Well, you said with a chuckle, it was quite serendipitous, actually. And there ends chapter 27. Stay tuned for chapter 28.